So welcome back for the second half of today's episode, where we are talking about financial advising. And our second guest that we have on today is Michael Cole. And he has been so graciously over there as we were speaking with Danny. And now we're bringing Michael on. So that double gem resource thing that I told you guys about earlier, we're in the second half of that. Okay. So we met Michael in Miami at Bronner Brothers as well.
That's right, yeah.
And I'll let Mikey tell that story because he was super excited when he was like, yeah, we met these guys at Bronner Brothers in Miami, and we're going to have them on the show. So I'll let Mikey tell the story with his excitement.
I was excited because we talk about this all the time of the need for financial education and information, but we're by no means financial advisors
at all.
So for us to be able to trick a couple guys to drive 5 hours to come here and give all this amazing information, I'm like, we can do that.
Yeah.
So it actually worked out great. And it's been a while since we first met, and we ran into each other, obviously in New Orleans, and actually had some good ideas for Bronner Brothers.
Yeah.
And at the time we're recording this, Bronner Brothers in Long Beach has been canceled.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they had enough time to plan for that. So I'm happy about that. But the homecoming is going to be in Atlanta, I believe, in February. That is going to be wild. Private label is going to be a big part of that show. I'm going to be running some crazy ads for this. Like, you guys don't even know my ideas. I'm already planning it way ahead because I love to plan.
And hopefully we have a live podcast happening at the show.
That I'm going to put on the list as a Bronner Brothers partner. I'm going to let them know. The new CEO, Mr. CEO, who came by a couple weeks ago. We're going to have that conversation coming up. So yeah, let's enough about that. Let's dive into this important information.
Definitely.
Where should we start? Start from where we left off, or some other perspective, or what do you got?
Well, let's go back to Michael and how he got into the industry, because we want to know, like, did you start off, did you go to school for finances? Like, how did you even get into the industry?
I don't know that you're ready for this story. So
bring it on.
Yeah. So after 20 years, I retired from the Navy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Incredible career. Saw the world. Lived in Japan 4.5 years.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, it was awesome. It was an incredible experience. And so as I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up, part of it is I decided that, let's figure out what it means to be an entrepreneur. So the community we live in Charleston feels a bit like Mayberry, right? Kids ride their bikes to school, you walk, there are golf carts everywhere. It's great, but there was no Floyd's Barbershop. And so my business partner and I were just chatting, and we just said, we can do this. So I went to Amazon. I bought a book on how to open a barbershop. I read the book, and we were off and running.
Wow.
It sounds easy, right? It wasn't. We were very much building the airplane in flight. We've been open for 6 years now. Very excited about that. The Daniel Island Barbershop. So if you're ever in Charleston, come by and see us.
Yes, please come by and see them.
But the biggest thing was our manager, Michael Pringle. He was so crucial to us in the consulting with us while we were going through the opening process and managing for us for the last 6 years. So that was incredible. And then,
so what made you want to open the barbershop?
It was purely opportunity.
Okay.
I mean, it was purely like, I didn't have hair then. I don't have hair now. So, right. So it's not the first thing that comes top of mind, right? I mean, but we just saw an opportunity. We saw a need. And I think that barbershops are so important to communities. They are a place, and I was talking to a good friend, Sam McCrae, who's down in New Orleans. And Sam said this, and we were on a live together, and he said, barbershops are the cornerstone of a community. And I was thinking about that. It's like, wow, well, if we can educate our barbers can educate the community. And so that's such a powerful way of just spreading the message, through the community.
Good, because barbers, my dad owned a barbershop for 20 years. He cut hair, and
awesome.
He's in a totally different space now, speaking, consulting, all of the things. And one of the things that he shared was that as a barber, you're also a therapist. You're also a consultant. You're all of these things.
That's
so
right.
the fact that you said, we just need to teach the barbers. And as they're cutting hair and as they're talking to their clients, they can begin to educate their clients about financial planning, about building wealth, about generational wealth, and all the things. And I think that's so powerful that it's almost like a domino effect. The barbers, their clients, and then from there, they're sharing with their family members, and then they're connecting them with you guys. And there's just like an ever evolving thing of just learning and growing. And now, you know, we get to a place where everyone is doing what they are supposed to be doing.
That's right.
In this realm. So that's just so powerful.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was awesome. And so my first job out in America, I landed in W-2 land. Great company, great people, but I just realized I'm a terrible W-2 employee.
Yeah.
I mean, I am just awful. And so I just realized I'm a better business owner. And so I learned that with the barbershop. I learned that I'm a better entrepreneur. I'm a better business owner. Northwestern Mutual came and recruited me to come join the firm. Just been very happy, love the culture of the organization, love the teamwork aspect of it. I mean, we work really well together. And so when Danny joined the firm a little bit after I did, we were just chatting about this commonality that we had and said, you know, we should do this thing together. And so I had done a smaller hair show previously called Impulse Summit with Micheline Barber. Really incredible event. And it really opened my eyes because I taught 2 classes there, and going into it, I love education. Education is my favorite part of our job. And so as I was teaching the class, I was like, man, who's gonna come to this thing? Like, I mean, are people gonna really come listen to this tall, skinny white boy here and what I had to say? And the standing room only in the first class I taught. I was like, man, like, to me, it was affirmation that there is such a desire and a need for the information that we're sharing with people. So just very excited about it.
Yeah. So I want to go back to something you said and then also insert the very first class Mikey and I did. Was it on building a hair business, or it was something we were doing and we were like, we don't know how many people are going to come or buy tickets or show up. And we had people come and we were able to give that one-on-one experience. So it's always like that first thing you do is going to be like, oh my God, are people going to show up? Like, what is happening?
That's right.
So going back to what you said about you were a terrible W-2 employee and you just were a better business owner. So we have a lot of people who will say, you know, social media has created this thing where everyone needs to be a boss. Everyone needs to be an entrepreneur.
That's right.
Can you talk a little bit about why do you think you were a horrible W-2 employee and a better business owner?
So I think some people are just wired a certain way. They're wired to be an entrepreneur, and some people aren't. One's not right for the other or wrong for the other. It's just, I think it's the way we're built. God made us just a certain way, right? And I think we're just built for that. And so what I found was that there's certain ways I want to do things, and there's a certain speed that I want to do things at. And I found that I was running faster and out ahead of the company that I was a part of.
Got it.
Right. And so, and I felt like I was kind of getting reined in from, and again, wonderful organization, wonderful people. But I was like, you know, if I'm going to assume this risk, if I'm going to have these ideas, you know, number one, I want to carry the weight on my shoulder, right? If I fail, if I succeed, no matter what it is, I know it's on me, right? And if I'm going to bet on anybody, I'm going to bet on myself.
Yeah.
And it took a tremendous amount of courage to jump out and do this. And it took a tremendous amount of faith on the part of my wife, Elizabeth. And I gave her the veto. I said, hey, I don't need to jump out and go do this. We can be content, and I was making good money. It was fine. And she said, you got to go. Yeah. she's like, you're going to make me nuts. Right. I mean, so no, you need to go do this. I know you're going to be fine. Right. And so I'm so grateful for her support. And I'll say that's a big part of being an entrepreneur. Pick your spouse.
Yeah.
Right? You got to build a supportive team around you, because it can feel very lonely being an entrepreneur. You can feel like the whole weight of the world's on you.
Yeah.
You got to have a team. We call them daytime vampires, right? You cannot have daytime vampires who are sucking the life out of you.
Oh, yeah.
When you're trying to build something special, you got to surround yourself with the right people who are supportive of you.
I love that.
Yeah, you know, I'm going into year 12 of our relationship. Could you imagine at this point in my life? I mean, things, you know, I got some stuff.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if I didn't have a girlfriend? Mary Margaret keeps me in check.
She's so sweet too.
I would be in those streets and I would be in so much trouble, which 100% would affect how this business is run and operated and everything else.
That's right.
So having someone by your side that will tell, and also I think it's important to have somebody that will tell you when you're wrong.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
and honestly say, do you think this is a good idea? When it's a bad idea, they say, no, it's not.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right? Because having like a cheerleader is not going to necessarily help you
right.
in business. Right? And that's why I'm so upfront with people when they say, is this good? I'm like, nah, it's not good.
Yeah.
Like, but you know, I've worked so hard. I'm like, well, I mean, you just asked me my opinion.
Mikey is so very straightforward. Like,
and you know why? Is because in my first business, everyone told me everything I was doing right. And then it failed. And then I'm like, I thought all this was, I was doing the right thing because everyone said, and they weren't even the right people to ask anyway.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, you know, it's tough. Yeah, having the right person can make a big difference in your life.
Definitely. Long gone are the days, guys, of you seeing Mikey. Well, Opera isn't here anymore, but in a club in Atlanta downtown.
I am in the streets occasionally.
That's right.
Not normally and very rarely in Atlanta. It's usually when we're traveling and, you know, in the DR, come down to the DR with me. They know me. They know me down there. Okay.
I love it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So,
if I can, I want to hit on something Mikey said about that. It's so important to build that trusted advisory team around you. And I think that one of the most important things that we do is we connect people, ideas, and resources to serve a greater good. And that doesn't mean I'm the guy that has the answers, right? Very rarely do I have the answers, but I know the people that do, right? It's that CPA, right? It's that bookkeeper. It's that business planning attorney, the estate planning attorney, the commercial real estate broker who you can trust, right? The residential real estate broker. Yeah. All of them. I put my real estate agent through the ringer.
Really?
Oh, he's a dear friend still. So I'll tell you stories. It's awesome. But it's so important to have that advisory team around you. And what we want to do is just make sure that our clients have that team built around them. And if they don't, we want to refer people to them that match up with their personality and their goals.
Yeah, I think that's important even when building a business.
That's right.
Right. So look who my partners are.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I have my side. When we first started this business, we didn't know it would get, all this, like, there's no way we thought that, right? I thought it was just going to be a website, you know, and do drop shipping. As a matter of that, I didn't even think I'd be inventorying stuff. And then you think of like, okay, who did I partner myself with? Dallas, right? I feel like he's the best hairstylist in the world.
Yeah.
Right. And he's got the personality and everything else. So that's matching my skill set that I don't have, right? If Dallas was great at Facebook and Instagram ads and all this other stuff and not a hairstylist, we wouldn't be partners today. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Look at our business partner, Angela, right? She's on radio and everything else, but she has that media perspective, right? And then some of the partners that people don't know who our partners are because it's an agreement, right? They're on TV. They are kind of the face of the brand and we are the back end. So that's why we work so well together. And it's the same thing we're talking about here. And then, we've been real strategic about who my business lawyer is, who my CPA is, and every other thing in our business we've built over the last decade. So it becomes, things are much more planned out, less stress.
Yes.
If you don't have a financial plan, right? And maybe you didn't have one and you're listening to this and say, well, I don't have a financial plan. And now you're a little stressed because you realize you need one.
That's right.
You just didn't know.
Yeah.
That's right.
And you wonder why like the balance of the books aren't working out and you're spending too much money on miscellaneous stuff. If you just don't know, well, now you know.
Like restaurants.
Little things. You got to cut back sometimes, right? So now that you know, you got to align yourself with the right people.
That's right.
And that's why this is so important, especially for our industry.
Yeah.
Definitely. So what is the, so I know you started the barbershop and then your wife gave you the okay to go and do the financial planning. What was the reasoning behind financial planning though? So I know that you started the barbershop, but what triggered let me do financial planning? Well,
it's interesting. So I had a really good relationship with my financial advisor while I was in the Navy, right? And I connected very well with her. She had been in the Navy, right? So there was a connection point there. And I had started thinking, I was like, well, this is a career I would enjoy. This is interesting. I like this. And honestly, most of that was just around the asset management. Hey, let me buy this, sell this, right? That's cool, right? Honestly, like we spend so little time doing that, right? It's not, it sounds sexy, but it's not like what we spend most of our time doing.
Yeah.
And I had looked into a few firms when I was retiring from the Navy, and it's just the timing didn't feel right. It didn't feel right in my spirit at the time. And so I think I needed to go learn that I wasn't a good W-2 employee any longer. And so I had to learn that lesson.
Yeah.
And then I came into this with the absolute right mindset about, this is where I'm supposed to be. And so why this industry? It's about the people.
Yeah.
I am a prolific relationship builder. We build professional friendships in what we do. And I tell my clients, I say, I hope you like me because you're kind of stuck with me, right? I mean, like we're here for the long haul until you fire me, right? I mean, but otherwise, like I'm here for you.
Yeah.
I want to celebrate your wins. I want to be there with you for your losses. And I want to give you the best advice I can throughout all of it, right? And so whether we're doing personal financial planning or whether we're doing business planning, we want to be there to support these people who are out there working their butts off, trying to do the right thing. And we want to help them build wealth, mitigate their risk, and more importantly, just help their kids start a little further down the road. Like we don't need to build trust fund babies, right? We need to build good human beings, right? Yes. And I love what James Bronner was saying about like what his dad had them do, like to kind of learn.
They went out and they were giving out flyers and they were in the trenches.
That's right. That's right. And so, but we all want our kids to start off a little further down the road than we did.
Yep.
Right. We just want to build them up.
Yeah.
And so we want to be part of that process. And so what I believe to be true is that if we do really good discovery, we understand who you are, we understand what your goals are, what it is you're trying to achieve, and we educate you appropriately, then the solutions present themselves. I'm not selling anything.
Right.
Right? Well, I am selling something, right? We all are. Everybody's selling something, right? But the solutions present themselves. The solutions should just be obvious. And one of the things that I love about my partnership with Danny is that we both kind of share this same philosophical mindset, and we have the same passion for the beauty industry because we want to build them up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, y'all touched on the social media piece. I almost wanted to start yelling from the other side of the room. I withheld myself, but a lot of restraint there. But there's so much misinformation out there. And we just want people to understand the truth because they work too hard for this money for it to be misappropriated because some TikTok videos said you should do something, right?
Yeah.
So sorry, soapbox.
No, all good. I think that's so important. And then also I want to ask you, being in the hair industry and the beauty industry, we know that there is a deficit when it comes to people learning and understanding how to manage their money that they're making. But what is the biggest challenge you see going into working with this industry? What is that?
They don't want to adult. I mean, at the end of the day, getting them to realize it's time to start adulting, right? To make those basic decisions. And Danny touched on this earlier. It's all about cash flow management. If we understand where the money's going, then we can help you make better decisions.
Yeah.
But you just got to choose that you want to do it, right? There's 3 reasons or 3 areas that've got to be in alignment. There's got to be a need. Mm-hmm. There's got to be a desire to make the change. And there's got to be the resources, right? You got to have all 3 of those pieces in place in order to really affect change with our clients in this industry. And what I find is most of them are getting in their 50s, and then it's like, oh no, I've not done anything, right? And so it's so important. That's why we teach classes at Bronner Brothers, at IBS, anywhere any platform that we can get on. We want to catch people young and get them thinking about the fundamental pieces of a strong financial plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sooner you figure that out, it's so much easier.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just with the way things, finances compound and investments compound and everything else, it's so much easier when you're young, and just putting a little bit of money away, at an earlier age makes such a big difference. Those are the things that are on social media that I do like. It's like, hey, if you have a baby and you put $50 away each week or each month or something, and then after this much time, look into, there's actually an interesting show. I think I watched the first episode on Netflix. He's big on like, online with a lot of the blogs and other stuff. He has a pretty powerful blog about financial planning. I forget his name, an Indian guy, Ramit or something. And he actually has like, I'm going to make you rich or something on Netflix. And it's a pretty good series. And one of the things I think about is you have a hairstylist. They know their financial situation's not the best right now. what is it that you need to tell them? Like, because you basically say, hey, I need to see your financials. You got to open up the books, and they're going to feel uncomfortable doing so because they kind of have a mess. How do you really comfort someone to say, look, really good, no matter how bad you think you have it, I've seen worse. Yeah. It's okay. I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to make you better. How do you kind of go into that situation?
Well, you just hit it. I mean, it's exactly that. We're here to help, right? And if you're willing to listen and take the advice, we're here to help give it. I mean, and I think the other piece is, and I think I blame this on social media, is everyone's looking for an instantaneous solution.
Yeah.
And what the reality is it takes a little bit every day. Right. And there's a really good book, Atomic Habits.
Oh, I love that book.
Yeah.
I can read it every year.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And James Clear talks about getting 1% better every day. And just think about that. You can do that with your finances. Just 1% better every day. Right. Just, hey, I don't need this Starbucks today.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to do meal prep for the week, and I'm not going to get Uber Eats delivered to the salon or the barbershop. Right. Yeah. And that's frequently what I say is like, I encourage people I work with, we give them a budget worksheet, and I say, hey, take a look at the last 3 months. Average out your expenses. You're going to find where your money's going, because I'm talking to 6-figure stylists and barbers. They don't know where their money's going. It's like, I make a ton of money. I don't know where it's going. It's like, let's do the budget.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we can't get into the fun and sexy stuff until we actually understand like what money is available to do something with, right?
Yeah.
So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think that's good. And getting into, it's unbelievable. Sometimes we'll do like Uber Eats or something, but since we moved and I have like my own grill now, so I'm like cooking again. I love it. It's unbelievable how much money we were spending on food.
Yeah.
And delivery, but I was also busy, so I didn't have as much time. But meal prepping for the week is something I started doing personally, saving a ton of money doing that. But also healthier. The health side is way better because I've been kind of on a weight loss journey this year because I want to get like, I don't want to say ripped, but like when I'm in those streets, I want you guys to be like, dang, Mike, I see Mikey on these podcasts, but I didn't know he was like that. So, I wanted to kind of, and just really understand kind of the science behind it. So what I hear you talking is kind of what I've taught myself on a much higher level about like calories and other things. And it's like, for me, I'm down about maybe 12, 13 pounds in the last couple months.
Nice.
Awesome.
Right. But I'm tall, so you don't initially see it. Right. So one of the things I realize is taking it day by day.
Yes.
So you have to understand that, you have to be in like a 500 calorie deficit a day is a easy range to kind of manage.
That's right.
And, you have a certain amount of calories in a pound. So it's, they say about 3,500 calories a pound, I believe. So it's like you have that deficit and every week you can lose 1 pound.
Yeah.
Right. So what I've learned is
talking Japanese to me and probably a lot of other people.
Yeah. No, but it's really simple when you break it down. And one of those things I learned was I'd always say, I want to lose 10 pounds. It's very similar to, I want to save $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
So now what I did is I said, I weigh myself and I say, my goal is to lose 1 pound. And then I'm going to continue. Once I reach that goal, then it's another pound.
Yeah.
Because before you can save $1,000, guess what? You have to save 100.
That's right.
You got to save 100. Right. And we all start somewhere.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right. And sometimes you have to rebuild things. Like when my business failed, I talk about it. I wrote about it in my book. My credit went like down the tubes. Yeah. It has taken me a decade to build my credit back.
That's right.
Right. And it's down a few points from some transactions and stuff, but whatever. But like, I am really close to having a perfect score, 850. Like really close. And it will get there soon.
Definitely.
But it took a decade. It takes time, guys.
Yeah.
But you have to have that long-term outlook because nothing can be fixed. If you meet with someone and you say, okay, this is a little bit of a mess, you can start making changes today, but really to get a good outcome, it's going to take time. So you have to be patient.
And I think that's an area that we do really well at is when we lay out a plan, we have the near-term actions. Hey, these are things like I'm slapping my hand on the table. You've got to do this.
Yeah.
Like you're at risk if you don't do these things, like it's on you, right? So here are the things we got to start today. All right. And we realize that that's a shock to the system. We compare financial planning to running a marathon. Like I'm a runner. Like I'm a 5K or like all day long.
Oh, okay. Michael's showing out.
I love a good 5K, right? You know, but much more than that, I'm like, all right, I got other things to do, right? But if I decided to run a marathon, I wouldn't get up the next morning and go run 26 miles because I would be dead, right? That would have been meaningful, but not sustainable. And so we try to build meaningful and sustainable change in a financial plan. Here are the near-term actions. 6 months, we're going to get back together. We're going to see where you're at. Here's the midterm action, and then here's the long-term plan, right? And if you can lay that vision out for people, they begin to see the light.
Yeah.
And that's when the light bulb comes on for them, like, okay, I can do this. I can do this.
I love that. So what do you say to the person who feels like, dang, like I started too late. I don't think that I'll be able to gain that financial wealth that you're speaking about because maybe they didn't start younger when they became 20 or 20 to 25. I saw something that Dave Ramsey said where if you save $100 a month from 25 to, I think it was 72, you'll have like 1.4 million and something dollars for retirement. So for that person who is maybe 40 or 45 and they are just learning about financial planning because maybe you showed up and said, hey, this is how you can do this. What do you say to that person that feels like they kind of just lost out on time?
The second best day to start saving money is today.
I love that.
Right? It's the second best day. Can't do anything about the past, but we can control today and we can save today. And I think that just having that mindset is, you waited a long time. We just got to work a little bit harder now.
Yeah.
But it's not going to get any better if you wait any longer. Right? We've got to start taking action on this. And I think that we try to maintain that fine balance as we're coaching between passion and realizing you can only lead the horse to the water. You can't drown them. Drink the water. You know? But we speak very passionately with them about like, this is so important. Like, we've got to start doing this. And that's, people may be offended by that, but if you're offended by that, then we're not the right people for you to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think about my situation personally, and when my business failed, messed a lot of things up in my life. I think I didn't get back to ground zero, which meaning like I sold my house, I moved to an apartment, I said, I'm not going to own anything. I'm going to 100%, I'm all in on the business. And it worked. Yeah. I didn't get back to ground zero in my life till probably 2018.
Wow.
Right? So like at 20, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, right? So like in my early 40s, I'm back to zero again, right? Yeah. Like I don't own anything at this point and I have zero. But because of the knowledge I have obtained over those years, I feel like you can catapult yourself a little faster. So if you're in that same position, and that's why I speak so openly about it, wrote a whole book about the situation, right? Is, by the way, do you guys have my book?
We do. Yep.
You have it? Oh,
I gave it to us in Miami.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's amazing how quick with the right knowledge, the right people around you and everything else that you can kind of catapult yourself to really be, 6-7 figures in assets pretty quick.
Yes.
So it's okay if it's today. But man, I tell you, if I knew the stuff I knew today, I always say that in my early 20s, I would be done right now, like easily done right now.
Yeah.
And I think today we have the biggest advantage of history with entrepreneurship, with the knowledge and information. Think about when we were growing up, there wasn't all this, whether TikTok gives you good information or not, there is plenty of good information out there. Yeah. There's never been a better time.
That's right.
Because the real information is out there and you can just learn so quick.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then now they have AI to help you out. So
that's right.
It just makes things a little bit even faster. So it's just but the financial side, it's so true. It doesn't matter how much money you're making. It's how much you save.
That's right.
And what you do with it. And if you're sleeping, like I love, one of my pastimes now is I love waking up and I check my notifications. And when it says like my E-Trade notification says dividend paid, I'm like, making money.
Yeah, I love it.
I love the dividends.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like one of those things, but you got to know about it. Because I actually talked to someone that I mentor. She doesn't know about what are you talking about, dividends? She's very educated, but on the financial side, she didn't know what a dividend is.
That's right.
Right. So there's so much that I'm teaching her. I was like, yeah, did you know, like, we do this and you kind of start saving this and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh my God, I had no idea.
That's right.
So it's okay. And she's very smart, guys, like very smart.
Yeah.
Like school smart. And this is not stuff that is just easily that people teach you. So having the right people by your side can make all the difference in the world.
That's right. Absolutely.
Definitely. So what piece of advice would you give someone that maybe they have no idea where to start? They meet you and they're like, I want to take advantage of this opportunity. What piece of advice do you have for them?
Take our recommendations. I mean, that. And so I think the big piece is it always comes around to cash flow management, right? Danny did a really nice job, and I don't want to go back over what he talked about with building the foundational pieces. Okay, so he touched on that very nicely. I think above and beyond that, what we want to do is help our clients create wealth tax efficiently.
Yes.
So all entrepreneurs are running a business, right? So how do you move the wealth from the business to your personal balance sheet in a tax efficient way?
Move to Puerto Rico. Okay? That's what I know all my friends did.
I might take that advice.
Yeah, well,
4% tax or whatever it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
For now, until they close the loophole. But
yeah, there'll be something, right?
Yeah.
But we just want to be really smart about it. And so in our worldview, there's 3 buckets of money. All right. You've got safe dollars, you've got aggressive dollars, and you've got home run dollars.
Got it.
Right. And home run is what you do as an entrepreneur. Right. And I don't know, like, I can't cut a fade. Right. I tell everyone, like, yeah, I own a barbershop, but I cut checks, not hair. Right.
I like that. I cut checks, not hair.
And so, like, I can't go cut hair for you. Right. I mean, what you do as a business owner, that's your home run segment. Right. Now, many entrepreneurs don't like accepting a lot of risk in the aggressive segment, which is where most of our mere mortals like make their wealth in 401ks, IRAs, and they're wonderful tools. But if you're accepting a lot of risk over here on the home run segment, a lot of people aren't comfortable with putting a whole bunch of risk into that aggressive bucket.
Yeah.
You know, and so that may be smaller, but what we coach on is those are very tax efficient buckets. And so we can be mindful of risk management in that bucket, but we want to be strategic in leveraging the tax advantages of those buckets. So how can we move that money tax efficiently from the business into the personal balance sheet and begin building that exit plan, right? Because that's ultimately what it comes down to is building an exit plan.
Yeah.
And then you've got, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead. You finish.
And then there's the safe segment, right? And we want to help, especially for our entrepreneurs, we want to help them build a bucket of safe dollars that they can reposition, hit the next home run, and then put the money back into that safe dollar segment and build that safe dollar in a way where it actually gets a higher rate of return. And then also, is more tax efficient than a savings account.
So what's an example of a safe dollar?
So
like a high yield account or?
So high yield accounts are great at 4%. You know, maybe there's a few higher like that, but they're very tax inefficient. What most people don't realize is that a savings account is taxed at your highest marginal tax rate. And so while we believe in emergency fund, we put the money that we need in there for that 3 to 6 months, or if we've got a major expense coming up in the next 2 years, right? That's important to have those dollars in that kind of a bucket. What we work on is, and I'll use the barbershop as an example. My business partner and I have a buy-sell arrangement. We use life insurance to fund that buy-sell arrangement. What we then did is we converted that to whole life, and we're using that as a cash accumulation vehicle for the barbershop and then also for ourselves. When we exit from the business, it will serve as a deferred compensation plan for us.
Nice.
And so when we exit from that business, we'll transfer that policy to us personally. It won't be owned by the business anymore. And it's another part of our exit strategy. But in the meantime, if we need those dollars that are in that policy, we can borrow from it tax efficiently. We can surrender it. We can put a line of credit against it. There's a lot of tools that you can use that for, but you want to do it with the right company, right?
Yeah.
Doing it with the right company is really important because there's a lot of TikTok videos out there about being your own bank, infinite banking. And again, it goes back to what you were saying is like, there's elements of truth in it. But it's not a panacea, right? It's not I've got a life insurance policy. I'm going to be rich now, right? Not today.
No, absolutely not today.
Not today, but it's going to get there, right? And so using those types of tools, right? So we believe in the full holistic plan. How do we leverage all these tools so that we build a good exit strategy? And that can be 401k, it can be a SEP IRA, it can be a cash balance plan. I mean, there's a lot of different tools out there that we can leverage to help people build a successful exit strategy.
I love that you hit on that, because some people think that because they don't have a W-2 job that they don't have a retirement fund, or that they can't have a retirement fund, or that they can't do all of these things because they're not a W-2 employee. But as you're still listening, you've found out from Danny and from Michael that that's not the case. It's just another way to do things. And I love that you guys hit on that today. My question for you is, I have another question going back where we were talking about, I think it was, the beginning. So starting from the beginning. So let's say someone goes through they've done the budget sheet, they know where the money's going, they have a good idea of, what their goals are, or maybe they don't know what their goals are. And you kind of go through and you talk about the life insurance and everything. What is like that ending after those things? Do you guys offer investment advice, or where to put money at, and what stocks or bonds, or
absolutely
all those things?
Yeah. So there's two capacities that we can work with our clients in. One is a brokerage relationship. One is an advisory relationship.
Yeah.
Without diving into like the nuances of best interests and fiduciary and everything else, brokerage relationship is a great place for our clients to start.
Got it.
Right? If we're just opening a Roth IRA, if we're just opening a SEP IRA, it's a great place to build wealth. And then once they cross a threshold, we begin to talk about transitioning that into an advisory relationship. And what's important to know about an advisory relationship is you turn over the day-to-day management of those assets to us.
Got it.
And more specifically to our amazing team in Milwaukee. Brent Schutte and his team do a phenomenal job of that. And what that means is it gives Danny and I the ability just to sit here and have these conversations. Right? This is the most important. I think about it. I relate it back to my time in the military. You got the tactical level of war, and you got the strategic level of war. The tactical level is like, hey, go storm that hill. Hey, send that ship from here to here. Right? That sort of stuff. But at the operational level, it's understanding this is where we are. This is where we're going. How do we strategically get there? How do we leverage those tactical tools in order to get there? And so Danny and I really focus on that strategic level of planning for our clients.
Love that. And so for the people who are interested in learning more maybe about a Roth IRA and the benefits of having a personal Roth IRA versus getting a business Roth IRA, what would you recommend to them starting off if they have nothing?
If they have nothing, I think the very easy place to start is with either a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA. And for those listening, here's the big difference. When you enter into retirement and start pulling the money out, a Roth IRA, those dollars are coming out tax-free, right? So there's no impact on your marginal tax rate. Traditional IRA comes out as ordinary income, which is impacted by your marginal tax rate. And so which one is appropriate for an individual is largely going to be dependent on, well, do they need the tax write-off right now, right? So that's where we partner with the CPA. Do we need to take that tax write-off? I don't know that answer. We need your CPA in on that conversation.
Got it.
And so there's that part of it. And then also beyond that is, are you going to have passive income in retirement? Because if you're going to have passive income in retirement, which is going to generate ordinary income for you while you're in retirement, then that Roth becomes infinitely more important, because that Roth IRA then gives you tax-free dollars to go to Italy, to take the kids on the Disney cruise, to supplement your retirement living with, right? And so we believe in just building a robust retirement balance sheet that first makes sure that your base income is taken care of.
Yeah.
The lights are going to be on. The car's going to be running. I got a roof over my head. There's food in my refrigerator. First, we want to make sure that's taken care of. then we want to look at, well, what do I need to really enjoy retirement?
Yeah.
And what are the tools that we use to leverage for that? And what buckets do I need available to me so that I can pull from each one so that I can do tax bracket management while I'm in retirement and control those taxes? I think many people have this idea that magically they're going to not have any taxes in retirement, or they're going to automatically be in a lower tax bracket, right? Yeah. But guess what? If you want to be wealthy, if that's your goal, you're going to have taxes in retirement.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you're in the United States of America.
That's right. Well, listen, roads aren't free, schools aren't free.
Right.
Like my pension's not free from the Navy, right? I mean, so I love taxes, but I don't want to pay more than what I owe.
Yeah.
And I don't want my clients paying more than what they owe.
Yeah. So, I love that you were talking about the route they're at. I think it's so important, guys, if you're listening to this, to get educated early. I have this story that I share about when I was 18 years old. I took my refund check and I went and opened up a Roth IRA account.
Love it.
I had no idea what to do. I just knew that I saw it somewhere and I went to go open it. And so I bought shares of Facebook when they were like $23 and some change. I bought the shares, let them sit there, and not knowing, had no idea, no knowledge about how the system worked, I sold the shares at maybe like $123, and I just left everything sitting in the Roth IRA. I put it into maybe, it was like Century or something like that. And I went back and I had lost so much money. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? And it was like, I had the thought, it started is because I made that first step to actually do it. But the challenge that I had was I didn't stop to get with someone like you.
That's right.
To learn and build and understand what I was doing and how to keep it going. And so I say to you guys who are listening to this or watching this, get with a financial advisor. As you're building your business, it's so important that you're speaking with the proper people who are going to help you catapult you into that wealth that you're looking to get into. So this was amazing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having us.
Definitely.
It's been absolutely incredible.
Definitely. Is there anything else before we leave that you haven't shared that you want to share?
Yes. How in the heck do we get in contact with them?
I was going to get there, but yeah.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
What's the best way to get in contact with you guys?
So the best way is if you're on Instagram, you can follow us on Instagram. You can message us on Instagram and say, hey, I'd like to reach out to you. So that's easy. Yeah. My Instagram handle is J, because I'm a Joseph, J.Michael Cole.
Okay.
Danny's is DH Premier Planner. He's got a fancy Instagram handle. And so also you can reach me through my website, michaelcole.nm, the letters nm.com, or you can email me, michael.cole, COLE, @nm.com.
Love it. And we'll put both Michael and Danny's contact information in the show notes for you guys, as well as their social media and everything you need to get in contact with them. I love it. So thank you guys.
And thank you for your service, by the way.
20 years.
Wow.
Definitely. Over 20 years, right?
Right at 20.
Right at 20?
20 and a little change.
Okay.
20 is like, I'm out of here. I did look, I'm gone.
Yeah, well,
the next one.
Man, I went on a high note, and my last job in the Navy, I was actually warden of a medium security prison facility for the military, which was a ton of fun.
Where was that?
It was in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
So it was a ton of fun. So I went out. So that's why I was a terrible W-2, because I went out in charge.
Yeah.
And so then I went to start work for somebody. I was like, this sucks.
This doesn't sound right to me. I love that. It's been a joy catching up with Michael and Danny today. I know for sure that you guys took some valuable information just from this segment and this episode alone. So make sure you guys apply the information that you have learned. Start reach out to them. They are here for you. I love that they're totally connected to the hair industry, the beauty industry. So they understand where you're coming from as a stylist behind the chair, as someone that may be running a business online, e-commerce, but has a lot to do with beauty as well. They get it and they understand, and that's one thing that I love. So make sure you guys connect with them. If you have not already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast, whether it's on YouTube or podcast, Apple Podcasts. We're on all the platforms. So make sure you subscribe. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about in the future, or if there are any special guests you want us to bring on. Let us know.
Yep, that's it, guys. I gotta go. It's lunchtime. We're talking about food. I think gotta get some calories in. Thanks for watching.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.